Hello and welcome to the podcast. This is Ron's Amazing Stories. We have stories that should thrill you a little and chill you a little.
It's amazing.
You will hear adventures sent in by you guys, classic stories from the pulp mags, and episodes from the golden age of radio. We have special segments like Ghost Stories with Sylvia.
That's amazing.
And the Paranormal with Jason.
I think we're going to have a lot of fun.
So settle in for the next hour and enjoy the show. Oh, and you just might want to prepare yourself to be taken away from today.
Another 5-minute mystery.
This 5-minute mystery is being brought to you by hypnosis. We are terrible at realizing what goes on in other people's heads because we're trapped inside our own. This actually relates to our story, so what do you say we listen to it?
In a small Mexican town just across the border, Inspector Howard Hanley sits comfortably in a side street cafe.
Inspector Hanley! Has anyone seen the inspector?
The table by the window, I think you'll find him there.
Inspector Hanley! Oh, there you are. I am so afraid I'll not find you.
Wild excitement, Pedro.
This is the Americanos in the old Manuelo place. You must come quickly.
Mr. and Mrs. Shepard, you mean? What's up? Don't tell me it's another seance.
Oh, plenty she is up. A little while ago I come in from the horses. Mr. Shepard and Mr. Cortez, they are there in the library.
And Mrs. Shepard?
She's dead. Senor Cortez, he sent me for you.
Oh, you made a fast trip, Pedro. We'll make a faster one back. Come on. Looks like we've got some excitement on our hands. Oh, Inspector Hanley. You have looked at the body? Yes, stabbed. One good blow. Been dead for about an hour, maybe more.
Oh, no, it can't be.
Mr. Shepard seems to be taking this pretty hard.
Inspector, this is the most terrible thing which has happened. I almost feel responsible myself.
George, I couldn't have. Inspector Hanley, you've got to believe me.
Hey, what's going on here?
I will explain, Inspector. You no doubt are familiar with the fact that Mrs. Shepard was quite a believer in the supernatural.
Well, I knew she had seances up here frequently.
I myself am somewhat known in the field of hypnotism. Mrs. Shepard, she asked me to come up here this afternoon to see my work.
I see.
When I arrived, she asked me to perform for her. Mr. Shepard, he do not like this stuff too much, especially when she begged him to let me hypnotize him.
Mr. Shepard fought your attempts to hypnotize him?
See, it was very difficult for me to perform. The best results come when the subject is with him.
I see. Shepard, what do you say to this?
I don't know, Inspector. I only know I was determined he wouldn't hypnotize me. I had a headache anyway, and finally I guess I must have blown up about the whole thing and left the room. I went upstairs and fell asleep. The next thing I knew...
That is not so, Inspector. It was while he was in his hypnotic state that he killed her. 1 minute he was just standing there while I was concentrating over him, and the next minute he grabbed that knife and he stabbed her. It was then he ran out of the room and upstairs.
Are you calling the man a liar?
Not a liar, Inspector. When Mr. Shepard awoke, he may have thought that I did not hypnotize him, but regretfully enough, in this situation, I did.
Well, Mr. Shepard, it looks pretty bad.
Oh, no, I didn't do it. I couldn't.
Hold on, Shepard. I said it looks pretty bad, but not for you. I'm holding our friend Cortez here for the murder of your wife.
Why did Inspector Hanley arrest Cortez for murder? You know the clue? In a moment we'll hear, but first...
Was that a complete story we just heard? I think it was. The solution to this one is what you believe to be true, and not so much what was said. If my suspicions are correct, then our 5-minute mystery writers may just have got one right. What it comes down to is if a person can be made to commit murder while under hypnosis. There's been a lot of talk about that. What do you say we see where they go with this one? Like we actually have a choice.
And now, back to our story.
Cortez, you gave a very convincing story of hypnotizing Mr. Shepard and of how, while in that hypnotic state, he killed his wife, went upstairs, and then awakened, not realizing what he'd done. You're a fake, Cortez. It's obvious you don't know too much about hypnotism, or you wouldn't have given yourself away. You said quite plainly that Shepard here fought your attempts to hypnotize him. The best hypnotist in the world will tell you that you cannot hypnotize a person against his will. Come out of that trance, Cortez. You're under arrest.
That is the typical belief, but is it really true? The truth, rather disappointingly for some, is that a hypnotic trance is no more than an advanced daydreaming. You are in complete control the whole time and can't be made to do anything that you really don't want to. Real hypnotists use their skills to help you relax and learn the truth.
What's that you say?
Welcome to the podcast. We open the month of November to the show without a theme. Yes, for the past month, things have been pretty spooky, and it is one of our most successful months to date, with over 11,000 downloads per week. How about that? On the show today, we have an eclectic collection of stories. We will begin with a tale that has its origins in Arizona, but was told to me right here in Vancouver, Washington. Then we have a brand new
Johnny, is this true?
that returns to its roots in the strange and unusual. To end the show, we have a classic science fiction epic titled With Folded Hands. I think you're going to enjoy this one. I received an interesting email this week from Charles Ague in reference to Johnny, is it true? Or maybe it's
Johnny, is this true?
He wrote, "Hello, Ron. My name is Charles, and I've been listening to your show and loving it for years. Just one thing has bothered me, and I know it's so minor, but it always sticks out to me. When you do the segment, Johnny, is it true? You call it, Johnny, is it true? But the woman's voice that introduced the segment calls it,
Johnny, is this true?
I understand that this is something so minor, and it doesn't do anything to dampen my enjoyment of the show, but inquiring minds need to know once and for all, what is the actual name of that segment? Laughing out loud, and thanks for everything, Ron. Charlie." Well, Charlie, no one has ever asked that question before. I knew the two were different and noticed it on day one. You see, I went looking for a voiceover when I created the segment that said, "Is it true?" What I found was our lady saying,
Johnny, is this true?
I don't know what possessed me, but that became the segment name. However, the first time I typed it, it came out and was recorded as, Johnny, is it true? I decided not to fix it, and then it kind of became a thing for me, so I left it broken. The oddest thing is that I kind of like it broken. Thank you for the question, Charlie. Like the X-Files, I'm glad the truth is out there. If you were with us last week, you heard our very own Sylvia Schultz announce the annual 2020 Halloween contest. She challenged us to complete her story, which took place at the Heathman Hotel in Portland, Oregon. Strange happenings have taken place in rooms 303, 703, and 1003. Your job is to tell us what the connection is with those rooms. To enter, you can email ronsamazingstories@gmail.com or use the contact tab on our homepage. The winner will receive a copy of Sylvia's new book, Days of the Dead, A Year of True Ghost Stories. Now, your entry must be received by November 15th, 2020. Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook and a 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/Ron's Amazing Stories. They have over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, computer, Kindle. Whatever you have, you can listen to Audible on it. So what am I listening to right now? The X-Files, Cold Cases by Chris Carter and adapted to audio by Dirk Maggs. If you're into the paranormal, I probably don't have to tell you what The X-Files is, but it was a science fiction television drama created by Chris Carter. The original series aired from 1993 to 2002 on Fox, with a return to television a couple years ago. What we have is something pretty special. Take a listen to this.
From Audible Studios, The X-Files, Cold Cases.
Mulder, pick up the phone.
Mulder and Scully are back, embroiled in new battles with alien hybrids and shadowy government conspiracies.
Get this, they're bound at the wrist. What kind of worm knows how to lock manacles, Scully?
You're breaking up, Mulder.
I'm a long way into the sewer, just taking a closer look at these bodies. Whoa!
Help me!
Scully, I got a live one here.
Mulder, listen. This thing is a quick healer. If you found more than one host, there may be more of the creatures.
Help me! It's them!
What's happening?
This host is still very much human, Scully, but we now have fluke men crawling out of every inlet of this sewage chamber.
No!
Fluke men? How many are there?
The truth is out there. You just have to listen.
The truth is still out there. The iconic hit that had millions searching for UFOs back in the 90s is an exhilarating audio event only from Audible. David Duchovny and Gillian Anderson reunite as FBI Special Agents Fox Mulder and Dana Scully, joining some of the original cast members in this out-of-the-world production. When an FBI security breach allows a mysterious group access to some of the X-File cold cases, the duo uncover an extraterrestrial conspiracy dwelling beneath the surface. X-File Cold Cases is both an electrifying addition to the series and is a cautionary tale of what could lurk beyond the stars. This audiobook is an exceptional dramatization along the lines of an old-time radio classic. Many of the cast members returned, like Director Skinnerd, the Smoking Man, and even the Lone Gunman trio. Add Gillian Anderson and David Duchovny to the mix, and I think you see why I love this book, and you can have it today. Here's what Audible has set up for us. They are offering a free audiobook and 30 days to give you the opportunity to check out their service. This includes access to a monthly selection of free Audible originals. To download your free audiobook, go to audibletrial.com/Ron's Amazing Stories. Again, that's audibletrial.com/Ron's Amazing Stories, and you can get X-Files Cold Cases today. Thank you, Audible. And now, it's time for your stories.
These are your stories, sent by you, for you.
Our story today comes from Silas and Catherine Greenlee, who currently reside in Vancouver, Washington, but were both born and raised in Tucson, Arizona. I walk the park near my house every day. Doing this means that you're going to get to know your fellow walkers. This is how I met the Greenlees, and this is how I was told their fantastic story. But before I get to their tale, here are some facts. Did you know that according to the National UFO Reporting Center, Arizona ranks number 7 for states with the most UFO sightings? In fact, over 3,000 reports of UFOs have been filed so far this year in Arizona. That's a lot of sightings. Also, the largest mass report of UFOs came on March 13, 1997. This event became known as the Phoenix Lights. So when you hear Silas and Kathy's stories, keep this in mind. I sat down at a picnic bench with the two and pulled out my phone to record their story. They told me that they didn't want to be recorded. I could tell their story, but that I would have to write it. I opened an app to take notes and listened as Silas began. We were having a relaxing dinner in Litchfield Park near our home. It was a cool evening, and we just wanted to be outside. The weather had been impossibly hot, and it was a rare treat to be out. We were putting things away when an object appeared in the evening sky. I am a retired Air Force reconnaissance officer and know a bit about U.S. military craft. This was not one of those. He paused. The object came in from the southeast about 75 feet from our position and about 35 feet above the ground. It had a triangle shape, no visible markings, and seemed to be flat black. It also had a slight shimmer at its edges. There was this deep drone hum, not really heard, but it was felt. Neither of us moved in fear that something may happen to us. No Betty or Barney Hill thing in our lives. Silas stopped and then smiled. As the craft passed to the northeast, about 30 yards away from us, a beam of brilliant white light shot down to the ground from the front of the craft. It began to sweep left to right, as if it was searching for something. The odd thing was, as this beam struck the ground, there was a disturbance of dust rising as it swept. It was then Kathy took over the story.
I started to feel ill, nauseous. I asked Silas if he could feel it, and he told me all he felt was dread. We continued to watch that object as it faded out of sight. The direction in which it was traveling would lead it directly towards Luke Air Force Base. Soon after, my stomach eased and the feeling of dread passed. We both took a deep breath and were about to leave when we noticed that the airbase had come alive.
Silas picked up the story again. It was crazy. There were searchlights, sirens, and military police all along the security fence. We saw this because the park is on a slight rise above the base. We walked to our car and drove to the base. It was shut down. The main gate was closed, and MPs were not allowing anyone to enter. I even have a VIP standing at the base and was told to turn around and come back another day. The next day, the local news reported that a coyote had set off the perimeter alarm. It was not a coyote. The two continued to talk about their adventure. They spoke to friends and family, but no one else had seen the craft that night. The next time Silas found himself at the airbase, he spoke to several airmen friends of his and confirmed that the coyote story was just a ruse. But none of them saw anything that could have triggered the perimeter alarms. In the end, it was all quite a mystery. However, the Greenleys stand by what they say, but will only say that it was a UFO and nothing more. I want to thank Silas and Kathy for sharing their story and allowing me to tell it to you. I did change their last name at their request. Well, that is your story for this time. If you have one that you would like to share, like the Greenleys did, head to the main website at ronsamazingstories.com and click on the story submission banner. We want to hear your UFO story or anything else that you might want to share.
Johnny, is this true?
As you know by now, I like to surf the internet to find the strange and unusual. I do this in the name of the podcast, but the truth is, I would do it anyway, even if there was no podcast. What you're about to hear is...
Johnny, is this true?
I will tell you a story and then ask the question, did I make it up or is it true? Your job is to decide. Let's get started.
Johnny, is this true?
This time on Johnny, Is It True, we return to the root of the segment and read stories of the strange and unusual. The thing is, the stories could be made up by me, or they could be real. Your job is to decide. Let's get started. Story 1. Roy Robertson from Chicago, Illinois, had a very strange event happen to him. Once in a lifetime, really. Roy was at the intersection of Milwaukee, Damon, and North Avenue. While he was standing there, a bus lost control and was heading straight for him. Roy was sure he was going to die, but dived to the street in hopes that the bus would pass by. Meanwhile, the driver regained control and managed to turn the bus at the very last second. Roy was saved. He promptly stood up and was jumping for joy when a pigeon, flying low, struck him in the head, causing him to fall back to the ground, unconscious. When the paramedics arrived, he was revived, and the very first words he spoke were, "Did you get the license of that pigeon?" To which the paramedic had sad news to report. You see, the bird died on impact. Now, if that isn't a foul story, I don't know what is. Well, if you thought this happened, you were truly duped. I created this off the top of my head and hasn't a shred of truth to it. That's not to say it couldn't happen. Story 2. As we get closer to Thanksgiving, why not a story about a notoriously foul turkey who spent months attacking people in the Bay Area before it was finally captured? Nicknamed Gerald, the belligerent bird ruffled the feathers of Oakland residents for about 5 months, pouncing on visitors to the neighborhood's Morecambe Rose Garden. Officials were forced to close the park out of concern for public safety. Animal Services said it received dozens of complaints about the aggressive gobbler, whose favorite target seemed to be elderly women. Gerald was finally caught by Rebecca Dimitrick, Director of Wildlife Emergency Services, who disguised herself as a frail elderly woman and then baited the bird with blueberries kibble and sunflower seeds. When Gerald predictably charged her, she scruffed the turkey, grabbing him by the neck in a way that didn't actually hurt the bird. He was then safely released back into the wild. Now, is this skullduggery real, or did I just make it up? Well, this one is totally true. Residents described the turkey as charging at them, jumping on them, and clawing and pecking incessantly as they tried to run away. He was one foul bird. Get it? That's the second reference to foul in the segment. Maybe there is a theme. Story 3. Sacré fly! An elderly Frenchman blew up part of his house while chasing a fly. The 82-year-old was sitting down to dinner in southwest France when the bug came buzzing. So he began swatting at it with an electric racket designed to kill insects, not realizing that a gas canister was leaking into his home. The reaction between the racket and the gas sparked an explosion, destroying the kitchen and part of the roof. Fortunately, the octogenarian sustained only a slight burn to his hand. He was forced to stay at a local campsite while his family repaired his house. Unfortunately, the fate of the fly wasn't known. Now, while this isn't a foul story, it is pretty fly, isn't it? It is. This really happened in September of 2020. No charges were brought against the man for a fly massacre. However, he has sworn not to harm any more of God's winged beasts. Story 4. Our final story comes from Australia, or maybe I just made it up. A Bernese cat named Oscar proved that he had multiple lives after surviving a grueling 12 minutes in an active washing machine. The poor little cat had his hands on the glass as he was doing the rotation, and he was just looking at me. Oscar's owner, Amanda Meredith, tells of the traumatic incident. The Queensland, Australia native was first alerted to the 2-year-old kitty's ordeal when she heard a peculiar meowing sound after loading bed sheets into the washer. Amanda initially thought the noise was emanating from the cupboard, but soon realized the hair-raising truth. Oscar was in the washing machine. It was tragic, said the distraught owner, who was forced to wait an agonizing 2 minutes for the front loader to shut off so the door could be opened. Amanda then phoned her vet, who said the next 6 hours will be touch and go for the cat. Fortunately, despite being beat up by the appliance's fins during the crisis, Oscar emerged from the incident without serious injury. Albeit very soft, though, according to his grateful owner. Now this one has to be more of Ron's fake news, right? Nope, this one actually happened. Oscar's veterinarian, Dan Capps, later suspected that the cat might have crawled into the unit to escape Australia's frigid winter weather. He probably will avoid doing that in the future. Well, that's it for this time. I hope you found these stories truly informative, and if not, at least fun. Do you have any strange but true stories you want to share? If you do, send them to ronsamazingstories@gmail.com, and I'll use them if I can. Our featured story for this week is a science fiction classic that first appeared in the July 1947 issue of Astounding Science Fiction. It was written by Jack Williamson. Williamson's influence for this story was the aftermath of World War II and the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. His concern was that our technological creations that we had developed with the best intentions just might have disastrous consequences. The story is titled With Folded Hands and was adapted to radio by John Donkel. It first appeared in the OTR series Dimension X on April 15th, 1950.
Adventures in time and space, told in future tense. Dimension X. Have you ever heard of the Mark III? The amazing electronic brain they're using now up at Harvard University? In mere minutes, it can solve scientific problems that our most brilliant mathematicians would take years to work out. Its intelligence is almost superhuman. And yet the scientists are already working on a new and improved model, the Mark IV. In fact, they tell us there's no earthly reason why these thinking robots can't be perfected until they become the servants of the future, capable of doing all the work of mankind. Yes, that's what the advertising billboard said in the year 2006. Housework made easy by the perfect domestic servant. Modern Mechanicals Agency, Harry Underhill, President. The billboard showed a smiling family, sitting with folded hands, watching their mechanical robot pour their morning coffee. But in the home of Harry Underhill himself, things weren't quite as pleasant at breakfast this day.
I just can't understand it, Aurora. Look at this. Modern Mechanical's down 3 points. Yesterday, Smithson canceled his order. If I could only figure out why.
Why don't you ask him? Well, Frank, dear, eat your oatmeal.
Oh, Mom.
I just don't understand it. Business was good, and then boom. Some louse must be undercutting my prices, that's all.
How many robots were canceled?
Not robots. Mechanicals, Aurora. How many times...
They are robots, aren't they?
Please, Aurora, there's an important difference in sales psychology.
Maybe people are getting wise to your robots and mechanicals.
What do you mean, Aurora?
The perfect domestic servant. They're ugly, stupid, clumsy, walking junk piles.
Aurora.
The one you brought home to me can't even wash the clothes properly. It's more trouble than it's worth.
Aurora. You know our mechanicals are the best on the market.
Those animated tin cans you sell? They're certainly not making us any fortune.
Well, with this new model, things are bound to pick up a little. If that Jarvis order just comes through...
Oh, that robot of yours. There's something knocking again.
Hey, wait. Put that plate back. I haven't finished my breakfast yet. Wait!
Harry, you know you've got to say stop. 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 You always get excited. You think you never saw a robot before.
Not robot, mechanical.
All right. Look, it's not its fault. We just took too long to eat. Timing relay is set for 15 minutes.
Never mind, I want my coffee back. Set. There, isn't that simple? It bends at the waist, stretches out its arm, and picks up the coffee pot just as if it were yours. Hey, watch out!
And spills it right in your lap.
Oh, my clean suit, Aurora. Oh, no.
Harry, you know it's relayed to announce dinner after it sets the table.
Hey, there goes my coffee again. Stop. Set.
Harry, you can't give it 2 orders at once.
What's that smell?
There must be a short. Now see what you've done. Got it all upset.
I did. All I said was...
Harry!
Stop! Oh, it's no use. The brain coil's shorted out.
Oh, do something. Harry, do something.
I sure will. I'm going to the office. I'm getting out of here. Yes, Lucy?
Mr. Jarvis,
Oh, put him on.
Hello, Underhill?
Hello, Mr. Jarvis. I'm glad you called. I was just going to ring you. Well, I've got that whole shipment of mechanicals for you. 1 gross plane, a dozen of the chromium fitted.
Hold on, Underhill. I'm canceling the order.
But the invoice is made out and
Well, tear it up. I'm canceling.
But why?
Underhill, there's a brand new mechanical on the market that makes yours look like something out of a museum.
Oh, now, look here, Mr.
Don't
Jarvis.
now look me, Underhill. I've seen them, and I'm telling you it'll put you out of business. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Yes, Mr. Underhill?
That's the 3rd cancellation today. The world's going to pot.
Yes, Mr. Underhill?
No, never mind, Lucy. I'm going home. What a day. I wonder if Aurora'd smell it on me if I ducked into Garrigan's. She's got a nose like a beagle. Hey, that building wasn't here last week. Humanoid Institute. The perfect mechanical. Oh, no. We didn't have enough competition. Hey, these must be the cutthroats that are underselling me.
At your service, Mr. Underhill.
Huh? Oh, you startled me. Didn't hear you. Hey, you're a mechanical, aren't you? Not bad. Very lifelike.
Won't you come in, please, and examine our service?
Yeah, that's a remarkable voice. They've licked the variable inflection problem. You know, I'm in the same line myself. Mechanicals, I mean.
We're aware of that, sir.
Oh? Hey, some building you've got here. You sure got it up in a hurry.
The Humanoid Institute at your service, Mr. Underhill.
Yes? Oh, how'd you know my name?
For us, that was not difficult.
Oh, is that so? Oh, wait a minute. This is ridiculous. Talking to a mechanical. Must be somebody inside operating you by remote control.
No, Mr. Underhill. Of course, there is Humanoid Central, which powers and controls all of us, but that is located on Wing 4.
Wing 4?
A planet in a remote part of the galaxy.
Oh, yeah. Well, may I see your salesman, please?
We employ no human salesman, sir. We ourselves can accept your order for immediate humanoid service.
Oh, wait a minute. You can't expect me to buy one. I'm in the business myself.
There will be no more need for your electronic mechanicals, sir. Once you have accepted our service, you will no longer have to work. Everything will be done for you.
Everything? That's quite an offer. At that rate, you'll have trouble supplying the demand.
I think not, sir. As you can see from our storage room. Humanoids are now arriving at the rate of 5,000 per hour from Wing 4.
5,000 per hour?
We are anxious to introduce our complete service on this planet, sir, to bring happiness to everyone. May we come out to your home for a free trial demonstration?
No, I admit you're remarkable. The voice and movement, graceful even. But I'm still in business, and what's more, I wouldn't have you around the house.
I'm afraid you will have no choice. Sooner or later, it will be necessary.
Oh, is that so? Over my dead body, let me out of here.
At your service, Mr. Underhill.
It's going to be tough competition, all right. I'm going to stop in at Garrigan's, the devil with Aurora's nose.
Oh, hi, Pop.
Hello, Frank. How was the football game?
We won. 78-3. Guess what, Pop?
You made all the touchdowns.
Nope. Mom took in a boarder.
She what? Aurora!
She said if your business was going to fall on his face, she had to do something to make some money.
Oh, she did, huh?
Harry, what's all the racket for?
You tell me. What's this about a boarder?
Shh, Harry. He's going to live in that little apartment over the garage.
Oh, no, he isn't. You know I don't want any strangers around here.
Harry, please, shh. Look, he won't bother you. He's a nice old man.
Oh.
He just wanted a room and a place to work. He's an inventor, I think.
Oh, he is he? Did he pay in advance?
Well, he can't. You see, his royalties haven't started to come in.
Mm-hmm. Aurora, how can you be taken in by every beat-up old panhandler that gives you a sob story?
Mr. Sledge isn't like that at all. Oh, that reminds me, dear. Can you give me a 10?
A 10? What for?
Well, Mr. Sledge is ill. He needs some medicine for his heart, and I said I'd lend him the money.
You get... Oh, Aurora, this is the limit. He goes out right now.
Now, don't be unkind, Harry. Besides, we need the rent money.
Things aren't that bad yet. He goes.
Please, shh.
What are you shushing me for?
Mr. Sledge, he's in the next room. I've invited him for dinner. Frank, dear, wipe your mouth.
Oh, Mom.
More gravy, Mr. Sledge?
No, thank you, Mrs. Underhill.
Mr. Sledge, my wife tells me you're a traveling man. Expect to move on soon?
Harry.
I had hoped to do a little work, Mr. Underhill. You see, I've applied for basic patents here on Earth for a very important development.
Oh, a new invention, huh?
Yes. My field is rhodomagnetics.
What?
Rhodomagnetics. It's a new force field theorem, key to the second triad of the periodic table. Rhodium, ruthenium, and palladium.
I'm afraid I'm a little rusty on my science.
It's well known in other parts of the galaxy, but I've been able to apply for basic patents here.
Worth millions, huh?
Perhaps you find it strange that the holder of such valuable property should be in need.
Well, yes.
I'm a refugee, Mr. Underhill. I arrived on this planet only a few days ago.
Mm-hmm. But you will be shoving on again.
Oh, for goodness sakes, Harry.
That's all right, Mrs. Underhill. I understand. After all, I am an intruder in your home, and if it inconveniences you at all, I'll find some other place to sleep and set up my workshop.
Harry, your robot is spilling the coffee again.
I'll have to have it tightened up.
Why doesn't your company bring out a better mechanical? One smart enough not to spill things. Wouldn't that be splendid?
The perfect mechanical already exists, Mrs. Underhill. They're not so splendid, really. They are why I am a refugee today.
Oh? Where'd you say you came from?
Wing 4.
Wing 4? Oh, then you must mean those humanoids.
Humanoids?
Mr. Sledge.
Humanoids? What do you know about them?
Well, they just opened an agency here in Two Rivers.
No.
Harry.
What is it? What's wrong, Mr. Sledge?
Give him some water. It must be his heart.
Call Dr. Winters, Aurora.
No. I'll be all right.
Here, you better sit down.
I'm sorry. It was just shock. I came here to get away from them.
The humanoids?
Yes. I wanted to finish my work before they came. But now, I won't trouble you any further.
But, Mr. Sledge, Harry, he's sick.
Well, Mr. Sledge, I don't think you'll have to go right away.
He can stay, Harry.
Sure, after all, the way those humanoids are coming along, I'm liable to become a refugee myself any minute. Guess we might as well stick together, eh, Sledge?
Oh, that's better. Oh, you look ill, Professor. Maybe you ought to lie down on the sofa and rest.
No, thank you. I must get back to my workshop now. I haven't got time to rest. There's so little time left for all of us.
Good morning, Mr. Underhill.
Good morning.
Mr. Underhill, you look awful.
I feel awful. What's in the mail?
6 more cancellations. The Eat Quick restaurant chain sent back your shipment. They've installed humanoids. Mr. McIntyre from the bank called. He's refusing your loan. He said since Humanoid Institute opened, you're a bad credit risk.
Good.
I guess that's all. Oh, there's something to see you.
At your service, Mr. Underhill.
You? Oh, no, you're not the same one, are you? Serial number's different.
It doesn't matter, sir. We're all really one. Now, in exchange for our complete service, you will assign all your property to Humanoid Institute.
I will what?
With our service, you will have no need for property. Everything will be provided.
What kind of blackmail is this?
No blackmail, sir. You will find humanoids incapable of committing any crime. We exist only to increase the happiness of mankind.
Thanks, but I can take care of my own business.
You have no choice, really. With humanoid service, it is no longer necessary for men to take care of themselves. Our function is to serve and obey and guard men from harm.
Get out.
Very well, sir. When you wish to sign, let us know.
Get out. Get out. Aurora, I'm home.
At your service, Mr. Underhill.
What's the idea of this? You get out of here. Aurora!
Mrs. Underhill has accepted our free trial demonstration. We cannot leave unless she requests.
We'll see about that. Aurora, where the devil are you?
Oh, hello, Harry.
What's this mechanical doing here? What's happened to you?
Isn't it wonderful? Had my hair done, the manicure.
But-
The humanoid did it. And cleaned the house all over, washed all the clothes, and gave Frank his music lesson.
Now, wait a minute, Aurora. I won't have this monster in my house.
Oh, it's just a free trial, Harry. Just wait till you taste the dinner it cooked. Everything you like best. Roast duck.
I don't care if he cooked a duck.
And the most complicated pastries. I could never cook like that.
Well, might as well eat. But I'll need a drink first, though.
All right, Doc.
I'm sorry, sir.
What?
We exist under the prime directive to guard men from harm. Alcoholic beverages in excess are bad for human consumption. We have taken the liberty of removing them from the house.
Now, look here.
Mr. Underhill, dinner is served.
Yes, Lucy?
They're here, Mr. Underhill.
I've been expecting them for a week. All right, Lucy.
At your service, Mr. Underhill. We have the legal papers here, the bankruptcy forms, the eviction notice. We are ready now to foreclose your agency.
Okay, take it over. A lot of good it'll do you. I haven't made a sale in 2 weeks.
And now, if you will make the assignment of all your personal property, we can complete our service to you.
What if I won't sign?
That would be unfortunate. But with stubborn cases, we must sometimes resort to other methods. Eventually, Mr. Underhill, you will sign.
Of all the darn, stinking darn...
Whoa, Frank, what's the matter? What's the trouble, son?
That old humanoid.
Oh, you're not happy? You should be. It's guaranteed.
They took away my football. They said it was too dangerous to play with it. And my roller skates and my scout knife and everything.
Did they leave you anything?
Just some stinking old plastic blocks. Soft blocks. They said I couldn't get hurt with them. Dad, I want my football back. Can't you do anything?
I don't know, son. I don't know.
Oh, Mr. Underhill.
Mind if I come in, Sledge?
No, not at all. You mind if I keep working?
Oh, go right ahead. It's good to see somebody working with his hands.
Something wrong?
My son. The humanoids took his football away. They're everywhere. They've smashed my business, taken over my house. Sledge, isn't there some way to get rid of them?
That is exactly what I am trying to do.
You? What makes you think you can do anything?
Because, you see, Mr. Underhill, I'm the unfortunate fool who started them.
You? I don't understand.
I started the humanoids. And I've been running from them ever since.
You started them?
Yes, I invented them. I built the ronomagnetic relays that operate Humanoid Central.
But why?
I wanted to bring happiness to humanity.
Happiness? That's great. My wife's been crying for 2 days, and do you know why? Because she's bored stiff. There's nothing left for her to do. They won't even let her lift a little finger.
I don't blame you for feeling bitter, Mr. Underhill. It's all my fault. I wanted them to serve and obey, guard men from harm.
No, they do that all right. They've even emptied our medicine chest. It wouldn't do for one of us happy humans to end it all with a sleeping pill.
Mr. Underhill, I've made the most terrible mistake a man can make. But I meant well, believe me.
Then why did you do it?
I thought I could rid the universe of poverty and hunger by inventing the perfect mechanical.
They're perfect, all right. Too perfect.
Yes, that's the trouble. They obey the prime directive too literally. They kill men's souls with their kindness.
Isn't there some way they can be controlled?
No. I didn't trust mankind, so I made sure that Humanoid Central could not be tampered with. Not even by myself.
Then what hope is there?
Only one. They're not creative. They can't meet new ideas.
You mean you've got one, Sledge?
Yes. They can defeat anything they know about. But I've got something new. A weapon to attack the brain of Humanoid Central.
Is that what you've been working on?
Yes. Now that they're here, there's little time left. Either we destroy them, or they will destroy us.
Okay. What has to be done?
This tuning circuit.
Hmm?
You see, I need 2 bus bars here. Oh, can you read these diagrams?
I think so. Got my degree in electronics.
Good. If you could help on the bench work, it would save time.
I've got plenty of time now.
All right. But watch yourself. Don't let them see you come out here.
If you can take the risk, so can I.
No. As the inventor, I built a special immunity for myself into Humanoid Central. But you don't have that immunity. They're rather unpleasant methods of dealing with their enemies. They can change you, you know.
Change me? How?
Brain surgery.
What do you mean?
Never mind. Just be careful.
Mr. Underhill.
What do you want?
You're going to meet with Mr. Sledge?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I'm going to collect the rent.
Mr. Underhill, you have spent the past 2 afternoons in his room. In view of your association with Mr. Sledge, we feel that our free trial must be terminated. We suggest that you accept our total service and make the assignment of your property immediately.
And if I don't?
Then, sir, we may be forced to resort to other methods.
Well, give me one more day to think it over.
Very well, sir. Tomorrow. That will be your last chance.
Who is it?
Underhill.
Did they see you?
No, not today. Sledge, we've got to hurry.
It's difficult work, Mr. Underhill, but I'm almost finished.
They gave me till today. They said they'd use other methods.
What's that?
The Humanoids, building some kind of a warehouse across the road. Sledge, are you sure this thing will work?
It's a new principle, Underhill. A tuned rhodomagnetic light beam. It should act to fission the heavy atoms of the basic ores on Wing 4. We'll destroy Humanoid Central.
But are you sure?
I know the Humanoids. I made them. They can't invent anything. They can't create defenses against something new. It's done. It's finished, Underhill.
You going to use it now?
Immediately. I'll have to feed the astronomical data into the calculating circuits. There must be zero error in the focusing.
What will happen?
Wing 4 will disappear in a chain reaction. Humanoid Central will be destroyed. They'll stop. Ready now. Stand clear, please. Power's building up. Step on the rubber mat, Mr. Underhill. We must be shielded when I cut in the full power load.
Hurry, Sledge.
I've waited 30 years for this moment, Underhill. When Wing 4 is destroyed, the humanoids all over the galaxy will stop. They'll stop dead. You won't hear those drills.
Sledge.
All right. Now. Do you hear anything?
Sledge. Listen. The drills have stopped. They've stopped. You can see them. The humanoids have stopped.
They couldn't guard against something they couldn't understand. It worked, Underhill.
We're free now. Goodbye, Wing 4.
Humanoid Central is destroyed.
At your service, Mr. Underhill.
No, Sledge.
Get out of here. Get out.
You were attempting to break the Prime Directive. It is therefore necessary to interfere.
But you stopped. I saw you, all of you.
In order to guard against Mr. Sledge's beam, it was necessary to stop all units momentarily to concentrate power. That necessity has passed.
But it was new. You can't invent anything new.
No, sir, but we were able to adapt the screening principle you yourself invented. For the past 30 years, Humanoid Central has been screened against any energy attack.
All these years wasted. All these years.
Your immunity has ended, Mr. Sledge. It will now be necessary for you to accept our full services.
No, I'll stop you. I'll stop all of you.
No, Sledge.
I'll stop you with my bare hands. I'll kill you
Sledge,
all.
don't. It's no use.
Do not worry, Mr. Underhill. At worst, he can destroy one unit. There are millions more.
Sledge, you'll hurt yourself. Sledge!
I'll kill him.
He's sick. It's his heart. You, get a doctor.
Until he surrenders, we can neither aid nor hinder Mr. Sledge. Do you surrender your immunity, Mr. Sledge?
Have to. Last chance. Gone. Yes. Help me. Help me.
At your service, Mr. Sledge. You may see Mr. Sledge now, Mr. Underhill.
Alone?
If you wish. In here.
Thanks. Sledge.
Well, Underhill. Good to see you.
Your head. It's bandaged.
Is it really?
They've done something to you. Are you all right?
Oh, fine. Never felt better.
You never felt better?
No. In fact, I feel 10 years younger today.
You sound so happy.
Why not? These humanoids have made a new man of me, Underhill. They're wonderful, aren't they?
Wonderful? How can you say that, Sledge? Only yesterday you hated them. You were trying to destroy them.
Destroy them? Why?
You don't remember? You've forgotten what they're doing to us all? They're killing us with kindness, taking away all our incentive and pride of accomplishment, turning us all into pampered, useless pets, parasites, with nothing left to do but just sit with folded hands at the mercy of these mechanical monsters.
At your service, Mr. Underhill. You seem troubled, Mr. Underhill. Are you unhappy?
Unhappy? You bet I'm unhappy. What have you done to Professor Sledge to turn him into this babbling idiot?
We were forced to operate. For years, Mr. Sledge has been suffering from a benign tumor of the brain. It caused him to have hallucinations, to believe that he was actually the creator of the humanoids.
Did I?
Yes. It was these delusions which were making you unhappy.
Oh. Well, whoever did invent the humanoids, I certainly owe him a debt of gratitude now.
Sledge.
You see, Mr. Underhill, we have ways to correct these abnormal conditions. Even Mr. Sledge is happy now.
You operated on his brain?
Yes, Mr. Underhill. And now we are at your service.
At my service? You mean you're going to operate on... No.
The time has come for you to accept and enjoy our complete service. You will now sign our agreement.
Look here,
If you are unhappy, it only takes a simple operation.
No. Who said I was unhappy? I'm very happy. I'll sign your paper. You don't have to operate on me. I'm happy. I'm very, very happy. Very happy.
The happy Mr. Underhill's futile hands clenched, and relaxed again, and then folded quietly. There was nothing else left for them to do.
You have just heard the Jack Williamson story, With Folded Hands, an adventure in time, space, and the unknown world of the future, the world of Dimension X. Tonight's story on Dimension X was adapted for radio by John Dunkel. Featured in the cast were Philip Bourneff as Harry Underhill, Alexander Scorby as the Humanoid, Peter Capell as Professor Sledge, and Bryna Rayburn as Aurora. Your host was Norman Rose.
This robot theme was quite popular in the 1950s. People loved the idea of having robots perform all the hardest work so that they would have more leisure time. In this story, they had this happening as early as 2006. Well, that date has come and gone, but the idea of robots doing more has not gone away. In fact, mid-July, White Castle, the oldest hamburger restaurant in the United States, announced that it's partnering with Miso Robotics to create a robot that will serve up hamburgers. The robot is named Flippy and will begin preparing patties and dunking fries into hot vats of oil sometime this fall. So we best be watching our backs because robots are happening all around us. I hope you enjoyed this little run into our classic past. Much of what they predicted is coming to pass. Ron's Amazing Stories was brought to you by GladysGoodies.com. Great treats for your pet to eat, like Little Bit liver sticks. These treats are a great source of vitamins for your pet and are made from 100% beef liver. You can get little liver sticks and some really cool swag for your dog and cat at GladysGoodies.com. And don't forget to use our very own promo code RONS, that's RONS, to get a 20% discount on all of your purchases. That website again is GladysGoodies.com. That was episode number 464, and these are the people who made it great. Charles Ague, and Silas and Catherine Greenlee. Thanks, guys. Don't forget Sylvia's Halloween contest, which ends November 15th. If you want to follow the podcast or the blog, head to ronsamazingstories.com. There you will find any of the links I mentioned and how to contact us. Do you want to help the show? The best thing you can do is to tell your friends all about it, and please leave reviews or feedback wherever you listen. Clicking that follow or like button makes us grow. Thank you for listening, and I hope you come again to find out what are Ron's Amazing Stories.
All of the vintage audio used in the podcast is believed to be in the public domain. Ron's Amazing Stories does not own the rights to any of the old-time radio used here. If you hold the rights to any of the shows played, please contact us immediately at ronsamazingstories.com.